Welcome, friends, to Reality Test. What is reality testing, you may ask? Well, it's something we all do when we check our subjective or personal emotions, thoughts, and so forth against objective or fact-based reality. So here in Reality Test, we're going to be testing the castmate realities and the producer antics of our favorite reality TV shows against what we know as licensed psychologists about the reality off of our TVs. We hope you'll join us as we attempt to reality test. That's it. Thanks, y'all. Now check out our campy theme song.
Are you feeling stressed? Your head's all messed? Well, let's forget all the rest. Fuck it, we're blessed. Cause it's time to talk reality test. Come with us. Let's reality test.
Welcome to Reality Test. I'm Dr. Ray.
I'm Dr. Kay. Feel free to check in and take a seat wherever you like, because we are going to do some fun things. First of all, we have Dr. Ray back. Woo, woo, woo.
Hello.
That's like our regal one. Yeah, that was pretty good.
I like it.
Dr. Ray is back, and therefore we are going back to our normal structure of doing a bit of a recap, if you will, of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion part 1.
Part 1, indeed.
Yes.
It's been a heck of a time with these ladies this season. Lots of ups and downs. Some of it was boring, I have to say, but then I felt like Italy was good for the cast, for the situation. And it was a pleasure to watch Rachel Zoe. She was great.
I love Rachel Zoe, yes. What a delight. What a delight. And I get that totally. And I think Amanda Francis, through her total mess of a presence, brought some energy that was easy to be critical of, which can help, right? It's nice to have someone you love to hate, I guess. But yeah, and then Erica Jane, I mean, the fissure between Dorit and Erica Jane and Kyle was exhausting. Like, that part I felt like was boring. And yet also it is kind of like, it makes me feel more torn because I love Bose and I've actually come to like Dorit, which is wild. I was a big no thank you Dorit person back just 2 seasons ago. But she definitely won me over last season. But now I also love, I have always loved Erica and I still love Erica. So it kind of just puts me in a spot now. I want her to jump over the aisle.
Yes.
The coffee table.
Over the hill and through the woods. Yes, I know.
Sure.
Kyle, I haven't liked Kyle's vibe this season, which is a shame because I'm normally pretty pro Kyle, but I found myself not feeling that way at all this season.
No, exactly. And it's like, I really think that Amanda was, like I said in my theory, that Amanda was brought on for Kyle and that then Kyle was sort of using her to fight her battles with Dorit. And then Dorit nailed it at the end. She sort of called it out for what it was. It's exactly what it looks like. She's using Amanda to fight her battles, and Amanda doesn't know what she's getting into and sort of like falls flat on her face about it. But then Kyle will jump in and make it clear she was the one who had these feelings to begin with. And so, yeah, that energy is not looking great. Doesn't look great. And the sort of like continual need to say, no, we all feel this way. Oh, I didn't like that.
No, it was.
Did not like it.
It just wasn't kind. It wasn't true to what was happening. Sure, there might have been one-off conversations, which I saw at the reunion with Rachel Zoe, but it's like the points she was making was not emblematic of what everyone was saying about Dorit. No one cared about Dorit's spending. I don't think anyone was talking about it. It wasn't even in the chat.
Right. And they were just making like funny comments about it, like she's on Dorit time or, you know, whatever. And I like the way that Rachel Zoe put it, where she was like, what I said was not intended to be part of a collective complaint. Like, I was not trying to be a part of that. And then Bose, too, essentially being like, I talked to her directly about my thing, so it's on you how you talk about yours. But I wasn't hoping you would speak up for me either. Like, so I think just the way she was trying to use Dorit's own group against her is very mean. Like you said, like, it's just sort of like mean to like, that's like isolating Dorit, and it's cornering her with even her own close friends, and it's just hurtful. So I actually found what Dorit did in response to that very attuned. Like, she was very much able to be like, why don't you not say we all? Like, why don't you just speak from your own perspective? And I thought it was great. She could have done so much more and had so much more reactivity, and I didn't think she did. So I was really impressed actually with how she handled it. So yeah, I agree. It was not the greatest look of Kyle this season.
No, she seemed like petty in ways that I never felt that Kyle was a petty person, but
right. She seemed measured compared to some other folks previously.
Yeah. A bummer.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll get into that. Get into a little bit of that.
Will. Yes, I'm excited to.
But very first, let us tell you, we are psychologists and therapists, psychotherapists. We're not your therapists. We are therapists for other people who come to our office or are on virtual means, because therefore we're able to give a thorough psychological assessment and have more of a sense of real diagnoses. Whereas for these folks, even though we feel like we know them, just like you probably feel like you know them, we don't, and we have not done a thorough psychological assessment, so we cannot diagnose them accurately. We might talk about diagnoses as they might appear sort of adjacent to behaviors we see, but we can't actually formally do so. So all important things to keep in mind. And also just worth noting too, like we are our full human selves in this role as podcasters. So this is not how we speak to or about our clients at all. That is a different role. We have a different hat on with unconditional positive regard with our clients. So this is a different image, a different setting and context for us. So now we're going to do two different things before we get started on our recap. So first off, we do what's called reality check. Reality check, which is where we check ourselves against the literature. So we bring in a psychological study of some sort to share with you all that we think is of interest, whether it's related to an episode or not, or social justice or whatever, or something just of interest to us. You'll see that. Then after that, we'll do what's called our check-in, which is where we check in, tell you how we're doing, what we're bringing in on our hearts and minds when we come to this episode, so you have a sense of what our lenses are that we're using in these conversations. So with that said, reality check. Tell me, dear Dr. Ray, what study you brought today?
Oh, yes. What I brought today, I was thinking about the behavior of women during divorce. And I was thinking about Dorit and like what's developmentally appropriate when one is going through a divorce. And this was really interesting. This was a qualitative study. Let's see. Let me read. I'll just read it. The most important cause for divorce mentioned by women appeared as differences in opinion, lack of interest, and financial irresponsibility, where the least mentioned cause are age differences and jealousy. The leading problems experienced during the divorce are psychological breakdown, it's a little longer than the page, external interventions and sharing of property, whereas the least emphasized problems are the failure of the family to give support and failure to divorce due to living in different countries. The most important problems after divorce were listed as the negative viewpoints of society towards divorced women, financial problems, and psychological breakdown. Whereas the least experienced problems are future anxiety and loneliness. So, women tend to find community, tend to find people to support them, but tend to at times struggle financially. So what Dorit is going through is seen, I think, as developmentally appropriate. And it seems like the support of others can help mitigate some of the negative effects of divorce. Not shaming someone for their spending habits.
Yes, exactly. Yes, especially from other people getting divorced.
Yes. So it's just not the vibe. So, yeah, I thought that was interesting. And I don't know, I feel for Dorit. And frankly, if I was about to lose half of my income from my asshole husband, I'd probably spend a lot of money, too. I don't even judge her for that.
Absolutely, yeah. And she should spend it now because she has it. And then it all goes. I mean, I had been given the advice while I was going through a divorce by one of my friends who just is like an economic person. What is that called? Like a business, I don't know, had a business degree or something, that I should start like slowly sort of like draining my account into cash and to keep it separate so that they couldn't come for half my money. I mean, as it turned out, I made less than my husband at the time did, so it didn't end up hurting me. But it was a good point, right? Like there's sort of things like that. Like you should use the money while you have it before it starts to become part of the chat, before it starts to become contested in court. Some things get frozen at a certain point in time, but yeah, so exactly. There might have been actually a legal reason why she should have been spending it at that moment. Anyway, yeah.
Fair enough.
And it's none of your damn business how she spends her money.
Nope.
And like, just because you have more, like, it doesn't count because you have more money, but you spend like tens of thousands of dollars. Like Dorit said on Watch What Happens Live that Kyle spends tens of thousands of dollars a month on things.
Oh.
That's tens of thousands of dollars. It's a ton of money. It's way more than Dorit spends. And so Dorit's point was sort of like, check yourself kind of thing. But then her version of that during the reunion led to Kyle doing the thing that we hated that Sutton did, where she was sort of like, I'm sorry, I have different means than you do.
Yeah, that was bad. I hated that.
So bad. So bad. I just was like, wow, I can't believe someone didn't jump in and sort of say like, whoa, that was something we didn't love when, and actually I thought Erica was doing that. I went back and replayed it because Erica said something and I was like, oh good, she called her out on it. Even though she's friends with Kyle, she should call her out on it, right? That's one of those things that even your friends, you say something because Sutton did it. We didn't like it when Sutton did it. You could just sort of say like, Sutton tried that, it didn't work, is what I thought Erica maybe said. But it turned out she said something like, oh, like your foreclosure? I was like, no. She like doubled down, made it worse. Oh boy.
Oof. Yes.
Yeah. Tough
stuff.
Great article therefore, because it's very much in the chat for amongst these women. And as a divorcee myself, I definitely relate to that. The shame of like having that comes from society is real. It's like palpable, you know, and it's so crummy. And I really think it should be spoken about more, because especially with the like religious backpinnings, I guess, underpinnings of our country and our society and our morals, quote unquote, the religious underpinnings of our morals being against divorce, that we shouldn't divorce, or against suicide, other things too, being gay, that means that automatically we sort of see it as shameful, even just in our own bones, even though we know it shouldn't be. And if anything, we're happier without it, you know, without the marriage, whatever reason it was burdensome. You know, if you have kids, which I luckily did not, but if you have kids, then it's better for the kids to see mom and dad happy in different contexts and stuff. So I think the shame around divorce needs to go, needs to get out, especially since we know that rates are much higher lately.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, great. Love that. Okay, fabulous. So mine is also about reducing shame for a woman's experience. So I love that. There's a real alignment here. Mine is in response, however, to Kristen Doughty? Kristen Doty. It's Doty. Kristen Doty from The Valley. So she was also on Vanderpump Rules once upon a time, and she's now on The Valley, and she is postpartum in this season. So now she's a little bit further down the line of postpartum phase, and maybe it's not considered that anymore technically. But at the time that we're seeing her, we're checking in on her with Luke. They just had a baby, and she's struggling, and it's so painful to watch. So she's both feeling very like foreign to her body and also unattractive. And also Luke is like pretty forceful about having sex. Like he's like very much like, I don't know why we're not being intimate. We need to come first. Like I need to have boys' nights and da-da-da-da. And she sort of like one night she said, okay, you can have a boys' night, but the two things I would ask is you come to bed after you get back, just so like I know you're here, and then you help me with the baby tomorrow. And he fell asleep on the couch and then was hungover and didn't help with the baby. So I think, you know, these are sort of things where I can understand his task right now is learning how to be a father and still be Luke. But I think in order to learn how to be a father and Luke, you have to first learn how to be a father, period. Like just dig into that identity for yourself, learn that, and then you can more easily bring in the part of you that is the adult Luke in a way that doesn't isolate her. And so right now it feels like he's just like desperate to hold on to adult Luke. And so it's getting actually quite oppressive for her. So the thing I didn't tell you off camera, because I wanted you to hear for the first time in this setting, I honestly was appalled. She brought up the fact that her therapist, while talking about this with her therapist said, well, what's 15 minutes in a day anyway?
What? Right?
I was like jaw to magnum, hot magnum. My jaw was through the earth, the core of the earth to hot magnum. So appalled. So appalled. I was like, never would a therapist with any sort of ethical, at least not a feminist therapist, never would they on the planet say that. I mean, it is literally encouraging coercion in a marriage, because she's saying, even if you don't feel like it, just go for it. And it just was the most appalling thing. I literally was like, wow. So she has her therapist and her husband or boyfriend encouraging, or I guess they're at least engaged, so fiance, both encouraging her to just get over yourself and just have it. And so, like, for example, I was also imagining that she does say no sometimes, which is why he's complaining. But I imagine what happens, we heard about it one or two times when they did have sex during this first few episodes. We heard about it a couple times they did have sex. And then she even said after a girls' night, it was the perfect girls' night because I didn't get too drunk, I wasn't hungover, and I didn't have to have sex. Didn't have to have sex, she said. So therefore it does show that when she is having sex, she's feeling forced into it. And so it really, talk about religious underpinnings, it's another area where we historically have seen women as being a man's object as soon as they're married, and they can have sex whenever they want. And so it's coming through the chat, including with her therapist. And to have all that pressure come from around her like that, I just wanted to really validate how she's feeling. I feel like her body was just ripped the fuck open at this time in her life, and she's feeling down on her body. So of course she's not going to feel like high libido, but also she's in her sexual prime. So when she is feeling better, she will be the one initiating sex. So just give it a chance. So basically, because the other thing, by the way, is that he said to her, the reason I keep bringing it up is because if I didn't bring it up, we wouldn't have sex. It's like, no, you would. You just need to let her get to the place where she's the one initiating.
Right.
Okay. So there's a whole bunch of studies on this, but it's the idea of postpartum female sexual function. So in postpartum, one of the things that they found was that within 6 weeks, only about 57% of women resume sex within 6 weeks, or like in the 6 week period that they're supposed to wait, like, or at 6 weeks. Whereas about 98% of women will have sex by the 6 month mark.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wait. So first of all, yeah. 6 months apart, not reaching pregnancy levels of 38%. Okay, so that's a quite high level, but that's like 6 months, and I don't think they're 6 months away at this point in the show. And I feel like the pressure he's adding on her is really not helpful, and not healthful either. So in particular, there's evidence that sexual function declines during pregnancy and does not return to its baseline levels during the postpartum period. This is in part attributed to changes in body image, lack of sleep, tension, and urinary stress and urge complaints. Despite the significant impact on life, women's sexual function after delivery is often neglected by healthcare professionals. There's a significant worsening in all sexual domains postpartum, such as dyspareunia, lack of vaginal lubrication, difficulty to reach orgasm, vaginal bleeding or irritation after sex, and loss of sexual desire. It's only 89% that resume sexual activity within 6 months, not 98. 89% of women resume sexual activity. That's an important difference, a huge, massive difference. So only 89% do it within 6 months. Sexual dysfunction prevalence rates vary from 41 to 83% at 2 to 3 months and to 64% at 6 months postpartum. So, a span of greater than 18 months after birth, women have markedly lower levels of sexual pleasure and emotional satisfaction. So at a span of even more than 18 months, so that's a year and a half after birth, some studies indicate that greater than that amount of time, women will still have markedly lower levels of sexual pleasure and emotional satisfaction. So just take it the fuck easy. Give them a couple years here. And I think that to me is the move. It's like, give her 2 years, give her 2 fucking years. I don't know if that's like wildly a long time, but I think for me, I'm thinking just back the fuck up and let me fucking deal with it until I want to fucking deal with it, until I actually want it. And my point in the last episode too was like, your dick will actually be grateful that you wait until she wants it, because it'll be more effective at getting you off if she is wanting it. It's just the idea that he's okay with the idea that she's just doing it out of obligation. That's gross. You should not be okay with that. That should be a turn off. Yeah.
Like, if someone's not interested in having sex with you, I don't understand why you would like that. Exactly. That's not attractive. That's not sexy. Like, give her time and let her figure this out for herself.
Exactly.
Not okay.
Okay. It's not okay. And it is actually coercion, which is a form of rape. And the idea is that just because they're married doesn't mean that she doesn't have the issue of consent. The issue of consent is still in the chat, and she should absolutely be ongoing enthusiastic consent should be there. So I think the idea of just sort of thinking like, okay, we have to do it. I have to do it. Because what I was imagining is that she probably says no a lot of times and then feels like she has to say yes sometimes because he keeps asking her. So he's thinking like, oh, it's good. I keep asking her because then at least it'll happen. It's like, right. Because if 1 time out of 10, she might say yes because she's so sick of you getting mad at her for saying no. Right. So like that's still coercion, It's like, don't ask, don't keep asking. She said that she was glad that he keeps asking because it makes her feel wanted. And I was sort of thinking, no, don't want that, because then you must feel guilty when you say no and eventually say yes just because you feel like you have to. And then I just was going to share that dyspareunia. I looked it up because I was like, wait, I don't know what that is. Dyspareunia is painful intercourse. Oh. It's highly prevalent after childbirth, affecting approximately 35 to 43% of women between 2 and 6 months postpartum.
So that's not going to make anything better for them in the long term in their sex life. And by the way, the resentment that she might experience, very possibly will experience from him after, she's no longer in this postpartum phase, for him making her do this is probably going to be more pervasive. Yes. It's just not good.
It's going to be a longer lasting period because of how you're treating her. And by the way, same thing with the therapist. Like the therapist giving her this attitude of sort of like, what's 15 minutes? Like you're sort of, it's definitely making her feel worse right now because it's meaning that every time that she has sex and feels gross having sex, that's basically a violation. Her body has been raped. And so then of course she's feeling more shame, more guilt, more disgusted with her body, more disgusted with how she looks, and therefore it's going to keep perpetuating this issue. I mean, it's just the most ridiculous advice I've ever heard from a therapist. It's so grotesque. And so I just feel for her so immensely, and I hope that whatever the outcomes were of this situation, because this is now long ago, I hope that she's been able to sort of seek good feminist advice about this, and that she should absolutely be in control. And by the way, Luke, sit down, sir. Like, absolutely none of that. Like, my husband, too, was just like, whoa, no. He's like, he should absolutely follow her lead. Like, I was like, exactly, because my husband's had babies as well. And so he was like, absolutely not. He's like, you absolutely wait until she feels like she's anywhere near that. Because it just feels like, to me, it feels so intuitive. You know what I mean? Like, why the fuck is there a question? And the way that Luke, like, because you haven't seen this episode, Dr. Ray hasn't seen this episode, the way that Luke literally is like talking to everybody about it. Jesse Lawley, fucking, he's like, we're not intimate. He's like, we aren't having intimacy. Like, and you know, it's just wild. It's like, wow, sit the fuck down. Somebody tell him to sit the fuck down. Knock
and
it
it
off.
Sounded like we were talking a little off mic, not about the therapist part. You saw my reaction.
I know, that was the surprise part. Isn't that fucked up?
Yes. Just two therapists, Kristen, in case you haven't heard yet, two therapists are saying that is not good advice from a therapist.
Deeply harmful. Deeply harmful. We do not agree with that. We do not condone such advice. Would not be advice that is recommended by APA. I'm sure I could find a source saying as much in 5 minutes, but I'm with it. Exactly. Our organizing body would not agree.
Yes, and they have their own issues, right? So, and even they would be very in support of what we're saying.
Get it.
And also, didn't even Jesse, wasn't he like, no, that's
he's
not
like, that's to be expected. Yeah, he's like, because he says it sort of nonchalantly, the way that, because Luke builds it into a bigger conversation. He's sort of like, yeah, and we haven't been intimate, and Jesse breaks in and says, well, that's to be expected, and then he goes on to say more about it, and then I think Jesse was sort of like, okay, like, because even Jesse Lawley, who's had one child, understands that is to be expected, then you have a problem, sir. You need to listen to Jesse Lawley about this. To Luke's credit, the one thing I will give Luke, is that Danny, when he was talking about how things go with Nia, he said to Luke, like, when things are tough, we go to therapy. And I was like, yes, good job normalizing it. And we know that Kristen normalizes therapy and that she likes therapy, which we love. I have some issues with her current therapist, but I love that she likes therapy. And so they do go to couples therapy, I think, in the mix here. So that feels good. And I hope that person is a little bit better able to say, like, consent matters, even in marriages. Yes.
You shouldn't be happy about a girls' night just because you don't have to have sex. That shouldn't be. I mean, I'm not trying to be prescriptive, but damn, that's
fair. You're saying, like, let you be consent-based in sex. That is a fair thing to hope would happen. Because I agree. I really think a girls' night can be fun for all sorts of reasons, but it shouldn't be because it's a pass from sex. Sex should only ever be when you are excited about it, and then also that you getting off is a big part of the task. That should also be a part of the task. I just imagine it's not. Isn't that funny? Actually, I'm realizing I imagine it's not. Yeah, if that's where we're at with this. Yeah.
And I know there's some people with, orgasmic difficulties or whatever, who they don't make that the goal, and that can be a part of like a certain type of sex therapy. However, that's not what's happening with Kristen and Luke right now. It's a different. He's like, me want sex, and she's just like, this is awful.
It is caveman. It is. It's giving caveman. Exactly. It's all about him. It is. He's not like, we're not sexually intimate and therefore you must also be missing it, or like I would love to be able to get you off, or like, no, it's none of that. It's none of that. It's not about making her feel good. It's definitely about like, where am I in this?
Yeah. Maybe some jealousy that the baby's getting more attention or whatever the fuck that all is.
Which he can't place, so he makes it about sex. Exactly. It's like, what do I have the baby doesn't have? A dick. Like, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. Oh my god! Sorry. My phone just made a huge noise. My phone was canceling out of the ad. I mean, out of the article, and so then the next page of it had noise on it. That's good. That took us into the next part. Yeah.
Yes, I love it. Right. We could keep going on this.
I know because I'm glad that we talked about it though, because it has been bugging me. So good to hear from your perspective as well. So, but dear Dr. Ray, what is on your heart and mind today?
I am going to Taiwan this Thursday. So I'm sorry, y'all. I'll be away again, but I know you'll get some good content, or you can look at our archive. We've got a lot of good shit in there. Like it's. I don't mean to sound cocky, but we do a good job. I'm sounding a little Italian. I don't know.
It's the Italian part coming out.
Something's coming up. I don't know. But we have a lot of good content. You should look back on it. Maybe there will be some surprise episodes. Who knows? No pressure. Or
yes. No, I know. Yes. I was fun. I did a surprise midweek episode.
Yeah, exactly. If the spirit takes anyone, you never know. Dr. Kay just recently did a episode about Amanda again that you should all check out, because it's juicy stuff.
The one from this part 2, the one from like a week ago. Yeah. Totally. Yes. Yeah, that wrapped that one up with my full theoretical approach to what I think is going on with her too. So yeah, definitely. Thank you. You're right. that as well.
Yes.
And then this last one from this past Wednesday, I did our segments, but I did it from across a bunch of different shows. So that's a different application of that, which I realized we could do that too. We don't have to do the awards. We could do the segments from across shows that we've done. And it was fun. Yeah, it was fun.
Ooh.
So it's another structure. Yeah.
I like it. Very
We can do that
fun.
next time. Yeah. Like it. So maybe we can do that next time. Instead of covering part 2 in detail, we could just do a segments for cross episodes and include part 2 in it.
I love it. Love it.
I also did a deep dive on what's happening with Amanda and West first. I spent time doing that first and sort of went into that and then did the segments. So if anyone's wondering about an update on that, it's just like we have so much richness happening in these episodes. So check it out.
I feel so bad for Sierra. Ugh, it's
so
just
painful.
awful.
So painful. Just the idea that she said that they had decided that they were going to keep one of their boundaries as you can't sleep with other Bravo people. I was like, that was his idea, so she wouldn't, or even her idea, but so she wouldn't sleep with Jesse. When meanwhile, was sleeping with Amanda.
Wild. He's
Wild
such
indeed.
a dick. Ugh.
West
just
the dick.
can't.
West. Yeah, where the west wind blows.
Yes.
Wow, that was also a verb of choice there. Not intentional, but worked. That does work.
That's great.
Exactly. I've been hearing people call him Midwest, because he's he's midi, but he's Midwest also. Most
Yes.
Midwestern. Yeah.
And
That's
we
funny.
love Midwesterners sometimes.
We do.
I love a good Midwestern energy when it's not also problematic energy. But yeah, his kind of goes in that later camp for me.
Yeah. He's a girl at every port, Midwestern.
Yeah, see, that's not the best. Those do exist, though, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. And in every area, for sure. In every region, for sure.
Hashtag not all Midwesterners.
Yeah, exactly. Hashtag not my Midwest.
Yeah. I love it. But yeah, going to Taiwan. Excited. If you have any recs, email us. Let us know. I'm excited for any thoughts.
Yes. No, that's going to be awesome. I'm so excited for you to go, and I want to see pictures, hear all about it. And this is so nice because it's nice that because you've had some work trips, of course, so it's nice you get a play trip.
Yes. Work trips and then a family thing, which, was exciting at the end. But yeah, it'll be nice to just hang out, see a different country, and just chill. It's one of the benefits of an academic job is our work lives get so busy, and then there are breaks, which is nice.
No, it's so true. We really do. It's nice to have any sort of no. It's so nice to be able to have just any sort of fun.
Yes.
Okay.
You okay?
Yeah, we got an email from somebody.
Oh,
I was going
God.
to check on that. No. It's no.
Oh.
It's not about work. It's about from our podcast.
Oh, good. See?
Yeah.
This is how work makes us feel.
Oh,
It makes
I love
me
it.
feel. I'm like, oh God, what?
Okay. So with that in mind, I check it. Well, first, Taiwan. What was it? We finished talking about that. Oh, yeah. So it was the
that's
wedding
it.
this past weekend. That was what it was. The family thing.
Oh yes, family thing, and my brother got engaged. So
Okay,
yeah,
fun. Love that.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
awesome.
So good
Good.
stuff. Happy for him.
Happy engagement. Very nice.
Yes, she said yes.
She said yes.
We
Yes
made
to the-
napkins, and I was joking before. I'm like, if she says no, we'll just cross out the word yes.
She said no.
No.
Oh God, that's so much. You're right. You have to get those things ahead of time. That's brutal.
Yeah, but it worked out. They were
Yeah, that's
confident that it was going to be a yes, and it was. So that was good.
Correctly confident.
Yeah.
You know,
But
speaking
what's
of
on
like,
your heart? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm totally fine. But speaking of women's consent, I actually think so. In my second marriage, I was in on it about when he proposed to me, and I decided where and what kind of meaning it would have, and what kind of ring I wanted, and and actually I wanted an heirloom, so I was able to get him the specific ring through my mom, or send him to my mother to get it. So I was not involved directly, but so there was a lot of things that I was actually involved with, and that I felt really good about. I was glad that I was involved in curating it together, because I think there's a nice thing that can be said for being surprised, but there's also a nice thing to be said about being consent based around it, especially for your second wedding, I think particularly. But so I think that also he would have known I would have said yes too if he tried to organize something, which is good. Consent. I mean, because there's also that pressure, right? I mean, I think probably plenty of people say yes in the moment, and then later are like,
Nah.
yeah,
Taking it back.
yeah, that's rough. My check-in is that we did finally get the final book in, and then we got an alert that we should try to look into AI licensing so that we get money every time AI uses our book. Very cool.
I love that.
Yeah, that was an exciting next step. Moving right along here. So we're done with it. It's out of our hands now, and it should be coming out any day on Amazon as like just the table of contents stuff. So creative. It's a sexual violence trauma and creative healing. That's the name of it. So if it does get listed, I'll bring it up for sure. So you don't need to look for it. I'll tell you. But I'm excited about it.
Yay!
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Moving right along. So let's jump into this, our Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reading part 1 and take us away. So we divided it by segment as far as like whom they were focusing on.
Yes. So starting with part 1, we have Dorit, Kyle, and Erica. So, that was kind of a big arc of this season, was them not getting along. They spoke about missing each other and trying to convince the other that they still care.
Yeah. Did you see that? They were like fighting about it. They were like fighting about who cares. Like, I do still care. Well, I care too.
It was a lot. And it was mostly between Erica and Dorit.
Yeah.
And then Dorit's point was that no one could say she hasn't cared about what they're going through. And then they cut to Amanda's unsure face, because I think she's probably confused and unsure what the heck's happening.
Well, also she's like, you didn't care about my perspective. She's like, I don't know about that. Yeah, she's like, because really, like, Dorit went for a sweeping comment. She's like, no one in this room could possibly say that I haven't been empathetic and cared about what they're going through. And then Amanda was like, not me. But actually, I was glad she didn't say anything. Or if she did, they cut it out.
Yeah, I'm glad she didn't center herself in that, because, I mean, it was a double-edged sword. Dorit did not know that it was the anniversary of a miscarriage when she brought up what she brought up. I don't even remember what it was, about some slight to someone. And I understand Erica's feelings, and it was complicated. The whole thing was complicated.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nope, exactly. There was a lot of moving pieces there. And also, I think that, ultimately, though, I think she also kind of just doesn't care about Amanda in general, which I think is fair. She's not like asking Amanda about how she does, so I think her being unsure about that maps on to just generally about Dorit's attitude towards Amanda, too.
Absolutely. And then Erica said, what is the one question?
Andy asked her.
Oh, sorry. Andy asked, what is the one cue you'd ask him? Who?
Sorry. That's so under detailed. So the one thing that I found really of interest there was when Andy asked her, so how's it going with Tom? And then he goes, what's the one question you'd ask him if you could?
Why'd you throw me out like that? It was so sad. And it just had me thinking of the situation she's in. Like, she doesn't want to see this man die in prison, but she also probably had to divorce him, whether she wanted to or not, to distance herself from what was happening. And if she didn't, she might continue to look guilty or whatever. Like, none of this is her fault, I don't think. I mean, who knows what she knew or didn't know, but she wasn't in charge of the money. Like, I don't know. And he's still a human that she was with for a long time. So it's sad.
It's almost like it reified for her that everyone was right, that she was just a trophy wife, because he didn't actually protect her. Like, I almost think what happened was like his estate, whether or not he was a part of it, his estate sort of threw her out on her own to defend herself instead of trying to help her defend herself too, as much as they were helping Tom defend himself. Like, it's sort of like all they had to say was like, no, she really didn't know about it, but they're not saying that, sort of they're letting her defend for herself. And so then she feels thrown out by them. And then, therefore, doesn't have a house, doesn't have anything, and she's sort of left to defend and left to just, like, scrape together what she has. But, like, ultimately, I kind of was just, like, heartbroken by that, because I was sort of like, oh, my God, that is so sad. Because I really think you're so much better without him and better out from under his wing. And sort of it was a bumpy road at the beginning, and that's understandable. And maybe that wouldn't have happened, and that's what she's saying. Like, that bumpy road that first year wouldn't have happened if she wasn't also bitter about him kind of kicking her to the curb. But I kind of feel like, I don't know, she's just been such a boss this year and last year, and I'm just so excited for her for what's ahead. But yeah, it was just so sad. It showed that she was still having all these feelings about him that are much more complicated than we would think, I think.
I feel for her. Yeah. She talked about how he was never really supportive and how he kind of played the supportive husband bit. And then I remember one season where we actually saw them, and it was like with Lisa Vanderpump, and he told her to be quiet. And it was just like, oh, this is different different side.
Didn't like it. Very snappy.
Yeah. And yeah. And then, you know, that feeling, like you said, of being a trophy wife, not wanting to outshine him or to have brains, which she's incredibly intelligent. And it's in all those parties for all those years, it sounds like just soaked up what other people were talking about and remembered it all. Like, oh my gosh.
It's so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I loved finding that out when she was drunk. I was like, that's so fun. What a fun thing. You're like an encyclopedia.
It was great. She was just, she really was. It was pretty funny.
It was awesome. She's like, oh, isn't that the last island on the left when you go this way? It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How did you know that?
And then there's these sub-islands and whatever it was just very specific knowledge.
On it. Exactly. She's like, well, wasn't that when they started speaking French there? I'm like, yeah, Jesus. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, no, I really think he didn't want her to outshine him either, and that's why he couldn't support her. Like, he couldn't go to her show because he didn't want to see her have all her own fans. He wants her to have fans because of him, and he wants her to be smart, but like only within like what he allows her smarts to be. Like, so her writing her own book is not something he's going to support, you know. But yeah, no, I just find him so intolerable. Once we saw that side of him with Vanderpump, I was like all the way out, and then seeing that he wasn't supporting her in other ways when she was trying to branch out, I just was like, oh no, girl, get out of there. So that's why I was just sort of sad to see her say, why did you throw me out? Because I wanted to be like, I want you to see him as like rear view total, you know, like you have overcome this. But it's true. We love who we love. And like she really loved him. So that's sweet.
Did.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we have Rachel Zoe, who gets a shining edit.
She's a gem.
Yeah, she's just delightful. Andy said he was surprised that she was as open as she was. I can totally see that. She doesn't seem like open is not her maybe natural vibe. But I think she definitely tried. She also says that there was a lot more that happened that summer that she didn't say. So it's, I mean, it seems like whatever happened with her soon to be or is ex-husband was pretty insidious. So I feel for her.
Yeah.
He asked if she felt like going on the show would be revenge on him. She says no, absolutely fucking not. And that her ex has been hearing about the show and not watching it. And then they reference her idiosyncrasies such as, are you okay?
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you okay? That's so funny. I love it. I'm trying to think about one of our students started saying that to me during our conversation, like it was a few months ago. She started saying, are you okay? I was like, oh my God, that's so funny. I don't know if it's from Rachel Zoe or not, but I love it.
It's great. Either way,
so
perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's so good.
Oh, awesome.
So cute. Yeah. I love her.
So she just was a delight this season. Just a good energy to be around, but not just like fluff, like a caring, substantive, cool person. That's fun to watch.
And a good critique, like a good critic, I guess is the word. Good critique. She's not an object. She's a critic. She's a person. So she was a good critic of Amanda as well. Like she was able to get into the narrative format of just sort of being like, right, like, why are you saying this? She's like, why do you feel like you need to say this? Like she wasn't mean. She wasn't mean-hearted, but she was able to like call shit out. And that's what we need.
And there's something felt, Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, finish your thought first. Yeah.
I appreciated her style on it. I felt that Bose at times, which this kind of surprised me, like came at her in a way that was like a little much or a little too. Yeah, when she brought up, it seemed like she really went in on her business a little bit, and it felt, I don't know, it felt like a different energy from Bose. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
it was a little catty. I think she was sort of feeling like Amanda sort of suggested that she had business in the bag, and that she was sort of like, because when we watched that scene back of her with Bose at whatever the fuck that was, that Amanda was sort of implying, well, like, you just don't get that part of it. And Bose was like, I didn't try to get that part of it. You know, like, I didn't want to do that anyway. That I think she probably came out of that feeling kind of insecure. And so knowing that she herself had also gotten plenty of criticism, because everybody does, no matter what, knew she could find some on Amanda and sort of amplified it. Yeah. I definitely think there were moments that were a little bit cattier. And in the support of other women doing the same thing with her. Like, you know, Amanda in Retribution. Amanda in Retribution just solo dolo in an interview did it back to Bose, just like reading all of her comments and sort of, you know, so I think Bose was doing it in a sort of groupthink dynamic, which doesn't make it better, but does sort of make it different. So yeah, that wasn't a great moment for her. It wasn't a great look for sure.
You know, she was feeling a certain way, I think.
really
I mean,
insecure.
Amanda is probably really annoying to be around. Sorry, Amanda.
So cocky. Does not know how to be humble cocky.
No.
Just cocky. And so that would be so infuriating to them when they're all trying to like do the best they can at like subtly bragging, you know, like subtly putting forward their stuff. It would be infuriating to have someone just come in and be like, look at all my stuff, you know.
Yes.
It would be so annoying.
And then she's like, well, I support women, like indicating that they all, it's just like an unnuanced, it's like everything's at a 10 or a 20, and maybe it doesn't have to be. And I totally agree with the point that like having difficult conversations is not the same thing as being unsafe. And there has to be a difference between those two things, or like, what are we doing? I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. No, totally agree. It's sort of, yeah, well, that comes up in what you're going to share next, actually. I'll hold. But one of the things I was going to say about Rachel Zoe, too, is that it was an interesting juxtaposition that it went from Rachel Zoe and her edit of, like, doing the, like, are you okay? Where, like, everyone's like, oh, my God, we love you. To then the edit of Amanda Francis that was just, like, banging her over the head with how annoying she was.
And she's kind of taking it all in, I guess. She could be worse. She
looked a little shocked, though. She looked a little surprised. I mean, one of the things was like her first time through the reel, her mouth was open. Like during it, they were showing her, and she just sort of was like, you know, and like, what is this? And at the end, she pretended like she was fine with it, but she was clearly shocked during it. And I just sort of was thinking like, she probably was surprised because she just watched Rachel Zoe's that was like so kind and gentle, but like at the same time it's sort of like, Amanda, watch the show back. It made me wonder if she watched the show back, because it's sort of like there was all this you should have been, as a first time contestant, I would think, as a first time castmate on the show, I would be thinking about what they were going to hammer me over the head with. Like that's what I'd be thinking about the whole season. I'd be like, what's going to come up during reunion, because they're going to come up with something. What is my reel going to be, you know? And you would think that her reel, she would know because of all the feedback she got about all of her like talking herself up, that she would know that would be in the reel. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. She shouldn't have been surprised. Yeah, and then Amanda, looking shocked. Did she watch the show? She keeps saying she thinks X, Y, and Z is fair. Has yet to take the criticism on board. Like, take it in.
Right, because she's like. Well, but I think this is fair, and I also think this thing's fair. Like when Andy would be like, well, like, what do you think about this feedback? She's like, well, but I think it's fair that I do this because it's this thing. Like, they don't get it because it's this thing. Like, so anytime there was any sort of anything at all, she'd be like, well, just that part, though. I think that part was fair of me. But, like, if that's actually everything, you know, she kept doing that. Like, well, just that part, though. But I meant this, and that's okay. Like, it's like,
No
feedback taken on.
No feedback at all. And then the breadwinner comments, she was asked directly by Dorit what her husband said about the season, and the comment about her making more in a month than he does in a year. She says that she does make more in a month than he does in a year. It is true. And the whole emasculating thing did feel like a generational difference. I mean, she didn't have to beat him over the head with it about I make some, but like the points about like emasculating a man were less interesting to me. Like Rachel, I would emasculating someone who adores you. It's hurtful. I would never say that to anyone ever, let alone on TV. And then Amanda said, but you don't teach about money. And Rachel goes, what? And then Amanda goes, well, you model it for them, but you don't explicitly teach them that. And then Erica had the point about over time, the comments get buried and they are going to fester and blossom when things go to shit, which I think she's speaking from her own experience. And they might, like, I don't know. To me, the money stuff, maybe he was a little embarrassed, but I don't know. I think there are maybe other things in their relationship that may or may not come up over time, given her personality. But like, I was less on board with that, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's good, because that's one of my like questions about like a debate there. I think it's a really good like gold star debate here that's happening among generations of women, because there are different things that have come up in different generations for different leanings towards this issue. So one thing I was going to say was that she originally said when Dorit was like, wait, what were you going to say that he said? She said, it's true. And she goes, and she like said it again. She's like, he said it's true. Like, and then pauses at that point. Like, there's a period. It's true, period. And also, you didn't have to say it like that, but it's true. you know, and so I think she added the like, but it's true at the end. Like, I think he probably just said it's true, but you probably didn't need to say it like that. It's kind of embarrassing. Like, he probably said something like that, and that's fine. He's welcome to that opinion, and she's welcome to her opinion about it. But she did try to downplay it to us, I think. And so they were sort of saying like, I think you're probably downplaying it. He probably is kind of embarrassed, you know. And I think the furthest distance that they went with how like you need to protect men, they can't handle this, like, you know, was a little much, I think. And one thing was that Sutton said, well, if my husband had said that back when I have the baby on my fucking hip, and he'd been like, well, look at all my money, and then there's little old me with a baby on my hip, I'd be like, what the fuck, basically. And I think that's a good point. Like, I think men also have been taught not to be like, I have all the money, you know, like to us would be sort of like, right, exactly. So I think there's a reason to be said there. But then, very true, Amanda says in response, but men have historically made all the money, right? So that's her point, and that's a very millennial point where we're sort of like saying like, well, we can also be the breadwinners. She did say, I have asked him directly if he feels emasculated, and he has said no. And I just feel like, I don't know. That felt like rewriting history. I feel like, you know, that was like a re-supported, like, because she didn't give any quotes. She just was like, he said no, you know, or he said no way is what she said. He said no way. I was like, he did not say no way. But
no
also,
way.
like, yeah, no way I feel emasculated. My masculinity is right front and center. We're fine. Like, no way he said that, actually. But that's okay. Like, the point is, like, even if he's a little bit emasculated, you're right that, like, as women, we should feel good about promoting that other women become breadwinners by showing that we're breadwinners. But where I think she goes too far is that she's bragging about it in a way that makes it seem like it's not typical. Like, women are not typically breadwinners. Yeah. And so she's actually undoing her own point, which is like, she's acting like it's an anomaly that she's a breadwinner. And therefore people like me, who is also a breadwinner, are just sort of like, okay, like, good for you, me too. But like, I don't need to brag about it. Whereas, like, if she just was able to say something like, you know, I just wanted to bring up, like, I don't feel like this is super appropriate because I don't want to, like, brag, but at the same time, I just wanted to mention, like, I did buy her house. And the reason I want to mention it is just because I don't know if women all, like, feel like it's okay or, like, feel like that's something that's open to them. And I just want everyone to feel like that's totally open. But at the same time, like, I do totally I recognize I'm bragging. Like, da-da-da. Totally would have been great. Yeah, would have been great. But instead she says it like, oh, but excuse me, like, I did this, and like, I'm the breadwinner, which just undoes the very point she's trying to make, which is that, like, it should be more normalized.
She's like a blunt force object a little bit. And I think that's part of it's just like the hammering over the head of these things is off-putting to people. And it does. It's like not a nuanced point. It's like hashtag girl boss kind of vibes, which is like, I don't know. It's not very, she's not relational. So I don't think she sees how she comes off sometimes or cares.
She's also not an activist. And I think that's the part where I get frustrated because she's sort of acting like she's doing it out of her activist self. Whereas, like, that's not an activist. Even the, like, hashtag girl boss thing is a little bit more activism than she's doing. You know, like, even that sort of saying, like, look at us be girl bosses. We can do this. We're good. Like, you all are good. We're good. Da-da-da. Whereas she's like, look at me. Like, look at me do this. Like, I'm subverting all narratives by doing this. It's sort of like, well, that's not going to help anybody else feel good about it because they don't want to look like that. They don't want to look like they're bragging to the extent that, like, their honey feels shitty and their friends feel shitty. But yeah, I think there's definitely a generational difference in terms of them all being like, I would never embarrass my husband. Like, da-da-da. I think there's a generational difference there for sure. And also, I think I get where she's coming from in that way, Amanda. And I also think she's doing too much. Like, it's not helping what she's trying to help.
Like, if she had comported herself in a different way all season, I probably would agree with her points because I don't disagree with the point she's making. I just disagree with how she's executing said points.
I mean, she's rewriting it. She's sort of saying, like, this is what I was trying to do. It's like, no, it wasn't. You were bragging. You know what I mean? Like, you weren't trying to help women feel like it's accessible. You made it very not accessible. You made it like, look at all the millions I made because of my book. Where it's like, we can't all write a book, you know? So, and have it go well either. But you actually made it look inaccessible. So don't act like it was to make it look like, oh, look, women can do it, because we don't feel that way looking at you. So, yeah, it was a rewriting to defend herself, a justification, which reads into our next piece here, which is that Andy, in reading the fan mail, says, or asks actually, if there's any feedback she was surprised to hear. And then he gave her 2 examples. And she says, well, a little bit. She's like, a little bit of surprise about this, actually. And like a little bit surprised about that. And she says it about both things that he offers. Like, he offers 2 different examples. And she said, well, like, I was a little surprised about this. And I was a little surprised about that. So basically furthers the whole narrative of, like, she doesn't agree with anything. She's surprised by everything. Everything is not a real thing to her. So she basically, in all feedback cases, was surprised by it. The latter of those 2 items he brought up is the fact that she was railed for bringing up designer stuff so much. So he's like, were you surprised by the fact you were railed for bringing up so much designer stuff? And then one of the fans said, what is she trying to prove? She's talking to a Hilton, for goodness sake. Loved that. That's a great point.
Perfect. Yep.
What are we doing here?
Yep.
And then she said that, yes, I was a little surprised by that, because she said that she thought that that's what the show was about. And Erica says, that's a part of it, but the biggest part is your heart and soul. I was actually surprised that Erica even said it was a part of it. Honestly, I was sort of like, is it? Or is that just like adjacent, like what comes out because they're rich? I didn't think it was actually intended to be whatever. So anyway, I was like, wow, she gave you a bit of a bone there, actually. And so then Amanda says that every time she said something, someone else would say something. It's just that they would cut it out of the show. So like they would make it seem like it was just her saying that, but really someone else would say something and they cut it out. And people were all sort of like, And then Erica said, well, I saw her say in Sedona, make sure you get a shot of this. And she says to Amanda, of your Chanel bag. And Amanda was like, well, it was cute. And literally the whole room goes, no. It was amazing. It was like a collective no.
That's a very Sutton no.
Yeah, and they all did it too. Like every single person was like, no, that's not it. And she was like, and then Erica said, like, do not lead with that shit. We are too old and too experienced. And so Amanda says, well, the misconception that I was somehow hiding me is the problem. And Erica's like, well, that's what it felt. It felt to us like you were hiding you. But I just love that everyone was like, don't even try that it was just that it was cute. We all know you were trying to promote your bag, that you had a bag. It was not that it was cute. So back up.
Yeah.
X'd out. Triple X. So then Rachel's asked about the fact she mentioned that she felt this conflict. She's like, well, I feel like you can't be both a victim and the best at the same time. And that's a great point. And then she responds with an example from the latest episode where she said that she's used to going into a room. Wait, Amanda said, and she did say this, she's like, well, part of the problem is I'm used to going into a room and everyone knows me and everyone knows my heart. And so I don't need to explain it. And so like now that y'all don't know me, I'm not good at explaining it, basically, is the point. That's the implication.
I just don't buy that. Because, like, you always have to meet new people, and this can't be the first time. Yeah, this cannot be the first time in her life that people have said she's off-putting. Like, I just don't buy that with what I've witnessed. Yeah. Like, people don't automatically know your heart. It doesn't work that way.
No, exactly. But she landed on not everyone knows my heart in her explanation to Rachel, and Rachel was like, well, you didn't lead with that. And Amanda was like, yes, I did. And by the way, I do remember her saying they know my heart. But the whole point is it wasn't meant in the way that Rachel's hearing it now. So no wonder Rachel was like, you didn't lead with that, because I think it did sound, she started by saying they knew everything about me, they knew my heart. So it sounded much more about like they knew everything about me than it did like they know who I am. So like they know everything about me because I'm famous is the idea, so much more about the fame than it was about like they know who I am as a person, so it's easier for me. So Erica and everyone else basically was like, we're trying to know you, but you rubbed everyone the wrong way, so that's hard to do. It's hard to rub us all the wrong way. Amanda was like, well, I did it. And then Rachel is like, that's the same thing, right? It's like, look at me, I'm the best, like it's back to the same conflict Rachel's talking about. And then Rachel's like, it's a lot of victim language, so just show up. If you're a boss, show up. And Erica said, are you uncomfortable or are you unsafe? Loved that.
Really good. Rachel's language, like, you can be both. In some situations you can feel, we don't have to use the word victim, but you can feel like put upon, and in other situations you can feel really like great. So I didn't love her language there, but I think where Erica got with it felt like a more fair thing to me of what tends to happen when she goes to that place.
Exactly. It's like, because I think more so, like the point that I like about underlying, because I agree, it's the language that Rachel used, but the point underlying it that I liked is this idea that like she's all the way, like these little things are so much for her, she can't handle it. But then at the same time, other times she's like the best. And so like, it's like, if you're so best and you're so the strongest and all these things, and why are these little things bugging you? Like, and the reason is because she's not the best and she doesn't think she's the best. She's actually very insecure. And so like the whole point is that like, that's the thing, is that, and with narcissism in general, narcissists actually deep down hate themselves and they can't stand it. So they pretend like they don't. And so for her, it's like she actually deep down has a ton of shame and it's coming out sideways. And so they're pointing it out. They're right. They're pointing out what's wrong about that, which is that like you're actually deeply insecure. So, and then Kyle says, okay, so Amanda said to Erica when she said, are you uncomfortable or unsafe? Basically, Amanda said it's a very uncomfortable show. Right. We all agree about that, but you're not unsafe. So like take a beat and just sort of like try to stay in these arguments with us or else get out of the show. If you're unsafe, go, because that's what the show is about. We argue.
Yes, exactly. And they said, and this is a little paternalistic, but they did talk about like, I don't know if they said kid gloves, but that was the implication. Like no one came at her as hard as they come at each other, if you ask me. So exactly. So it could have been worse.
Exactly. It's like we are actually quite gentle. So if you want to stay here, you're going to get it worse. Let's see how that looks. So then Kyle said sort of like, well, I understand how hard it is for incoming people. And funnily enough, Erica in response goes, in Kyle's defense, she's always been the ambassador. And I was like, is that in defense? That's sort of saying like, even though, she said that she understands Amanda, it's just because she always does that. It's not because Amanda has any right to have that, perspective, which I kind of loved. It was almost like Erica saying like, but it's not Amanda that calls that up. It's just how Kyle always feels, So she almost further dissed Amanda and therefore undid Kyle's point, because Kyle's point was to try to defend Amanda in like a distanced way, as she usually does. And so then we come back to Bose and Amanda regarding Bose saying that her online course is losing money and that Amanda must be doing something wrong if she's not losing money. So I disagree with that. I don't think she did say that. Not the part about like she must be doing something wrong. And that's a huge claim to make, that she's saying that she said. So Bose, when they show us the clip, Bose did say, I'm losing money on my online course, but that's not what I do, so I don't care. It's okay. That's the choice I made. And you can see in their conversation that it is a little uncomfy, but it is a lot more collegial than either of them kind of said it was. Like, it's more collegial than Bose suggested that Amanda was, and it's more collegial than Amanda suggested Bose was. And I think that in general too, like she was sort of like, well, Bose said all these things to me, and then like now she's pretending like she doesn't say that. It's like, no, I don't think she said that what you're doing must be sketchy. Like, I don't see that happening even after the cameras stopped right there. Like, I don't see Bose being like, well, you must have been doing something weird, because she was very much defending herself. She wasn't talking about Amanda. So I just don't see that. And it's that kind of stuff that's dangerous, because then you really do create a narrative that's quite different from how people like Bose are experiencing it. And it's very easy for people who are racist, who are fans, to take that and run and make it a whole nother problem. So suggesting that Bose accused you of being criminal in some way is one step away from very deeply racist. So I'm not here for it. And yet, like, I was glad to see that Bose also was actually a little bit wrong, because she did say a little bit of that. I'm glad that they were honest about it. They were like, well, she did say this part, but she didn't say that part. And that helped me see more like well-rounded Bose. And I think also Bose did kind of make a comment like, I don't remember saying that part. Like, I think she tried to hedge a little bit, so it wasn't just like, no way, I definitely didn't say that. Like the whole thing about the mask, that was rough.
Yeah,
she definitely said that.
That wasn't nice.
I know. And it was kind of funny, but I don't think she wanted it. Right. She didn't want Amanda to hear it. And I think that's the whole point, where it's sort of like, right, like, I don't know. It's hard. It's like it's the groupthink thing. Like, when you have a group of people who all don't like Amanda, it's easy for it to snowball into like, we make jokes, we make da-da-da, and like Amanda's kind of aware of the fact we don't like her, so she can hear it and it's okay. It's like, sort of, where is the line there? And yeah, I would have thought Bose was somewhere else on that line, but I also understand it.
Yeah, Bose. Yeah, that wasn't her best joke moment. And Amanda is deeply annoying, so I understand where she's coming from.
And that's sort of where it's like, why are you making such a big deal about that? Come on, it's just a joke. Like, we think that you're lying about your business, so whatever, Yeah. It's sort of like, they're sort of like, you can't both be like such a business guru who's aware of the fact that like, we all know that something's weird about it, and then also upset when we bring it up. Like, I think it's that kind of piece where it's like, it feels like what is that, like double bind? Like you are saying this thing, but then when we bring it up, then you're mad at us. Like, it's like we there's moving expectations, moving rules. Yeah.
And there's nowhere to kind of turn with it. But it was a good part one.
Yeah, it was rich. I do really like the idea of like Rachel and Amanda being juxtaposed, because Rachel is such a gemstone, and it did make Amanda stand out quite a bit as sort of like misunderstanding the assignment. And I do think she maybe didn't watch it the way that she reacted, so I do hope the reunion gave her some sense of what was going on. Absolutely. Or she watched it very defensively. I could also see her watching it and be like, that's not what happened. Like the whole time.
No. Yeah, I could see her taking very detailed notes on how they got it wrong and like building her argument. Yeah.
To like bring to the reunion, or to like send out by social media or whatever it might be, because I wouldn't know. But yeah. Well, anyway, if y'all want to, we're going to also do some content for the Patreon here soon that will be, you can buy just individually if you'd like, for like a few bucks or $5 or whatever, for like case evaluations, kind of case deep dive, case conceptualizations that we'll do solo on our own and sort of add to that over time. And then also check back there for our audios for episodes the night before they come out. You can get them if you're a free member of Patreon. So you don't even have to pay the $5 a month to get to it. You just are a free member. You'll get the audio the night before we post it on Monday morning, so Sunday nights. And if you are a paying member for just $5 measly a month, you can also get access to our archive, and which is about to grow. So we're about to make a lot more of what's freely available archived. So watch out. And then you can get that though from just becoming $5 a month. Attendant. What is it called? A member. Just a member. You can become a member and do that. And then also we have other behind the scenes things and such like that. Then also our mental health checkups, which are where we talk about like narcissism. If you're interested in narcissism, Dr. Ray has a really great expose on narcissism on overt and covert manners and what that looks like, how that differs, and actually in response to thinking about Tom Sandoval, but it remains very relevant to every other person we talk about, basically, or at least a lot of people. Every show has one or two. Then you can also find us on Instagram at Reality Test Podcast, or at Dr. Ray Pods and at Dr. K Pods for Dr. Ray and myself, respectively. You can find us on Facebook at Reality Test Pod is our page, and at Reality Test Pod is our YouTube channel. And last but not least, you can email us, like we just recently got a nice email from Lyndon, at realitycheckpodding@gmail.com. Realitycheckpodding, Podding, @gmail.com.
And don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and tell all your friends. And to maybe pay $5 measly a month if you so choose.
Yes, coffee. Give up a coffee a month. If it's through Starbucks, it might be not even. It might be more than that. Usually coffee. And also, thank you to the friends that were here because of your friends telling you about it. Tell your friends too. Proliferate out. And with all of that, we just so appreciate and adore you all. Thank you for your time and effort and consideration. And we will see you next session. Bye.